Welcome to episode number 13 of the Bluegrass Race Hub. My man, joining us for the first time, David Brackett. You saw him holding up the 13 to make sure I didn't screw it up for the third time in a row. I am also joined by the HMFIC, Jason Collins. I'll let them run through and tell you what they drive and what they do and why you should care about it.
Go ahead, Dave. Lead us off.
It's just learning what you guys do. Try to be part.
Driver of the number 38 Silverado and Camaro, David Brackett in the Truck and Cup Series. I'm Jason Collins, the resident HMFIC. We are live with our 13th episode, and we're going to be discussing what happened last week in Michigan, as well as talking about tonight's race in the trucks at Atlanta.
Yeah. Interesting race with 6 cautions. Not what I'm guessing. It's not what anybody expected at Michigan. We had some long stints of good racing, but a little more caution laden than I'm sure everybody anticipated. I had a pretty bad race, and it's a good thing David's here because I screwed his race up too by chopping his nose off at the end. So I did real good on that.
So talking about
the end of the beginning.
I think it was towards the end because I got caught down on the pit cycle because I was running up in the top 10, and I just pitted at the wrong time when the cautions fell. And when I came back out, I was just man on a mission, and I should have been a little more patient. And unfortunately, I ended up finishing 28th, and I ruined your race. So it was just a real class act by me.
I didn't ruin it. I guess I should have followed you into the pits.
So Taylor Peacock ended up winning last week in Michigan in the Truck Series.
The money man himself,
Mr. Money, locks himself into the playoffs, led 28 laps. Colbert was second with 27 laps. Colbert looked like he was the favorite to win again, to be honest. And then Taylor, like I said, comes out and pulls out a victory. And I'm sure he was ecstatic about that. Bobby Hall Jr. finished P2, Cody Anderson P3, Ronnie Scherg Jr. P4, Peyton Hubbard was P5. So those guys all ended up having a great showing last week. It was a little more caution than what I typically would expect from a Bluegrass race. But when you put 39 drivers on a track, I mean, who knows what's going to happen, as we clearly have seen. And that goes all the way from the trucks to the cup. Stuff happens. Yep. And then the Xfinity Series looks like Jason Aerson, which I'm not going to lie, I don't even know who this guy is. I don't know you. I'm sorry, but I've maybe heard him speak once or twice. He led 2 laps. Blake Hensley ended up leading 34 laps in this race. So Jason got P1. Mo Abbott got P2, Hensley P3, Hobbs P4, Bridges P5. So those guys all came out, and it was a much cleaner race than what we had in the trucks when we had 3 total cautions, which one of those being the stage. So technically, we had 2 cautions. And then jumping over to the Cup Series, it was a little different. Had about 8 cautions.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. So going to this is one of the big topics that I know we've discussed in the Discord over the course of the last week. So Mike Peters ended up winning the race. A little bit of controversy on pit road. Keith Hackney was P2, Curtis Preston P4, and Preston P3, Huffman P4, Farmer P5. Let's talk about that pit road incident. Obviously, I think that's something that's on everybody's mind. So kick it off. Tell us what your thoughts are.
Yep. So obviously, I am fortunate that I get to tell my side of the story. We've seen, most people have seen Mike's side of the story. I'm not reading all that, like I said. But basically, we got onto pit road, and I was approaching my box, and there was a car exiting their box as I was getting to mine. And I know that the cars are supposed to be ghosted coming out of their box, and they are to a certain extent, but I've had times where I've really committed to that, and
It didn't happen.
It's yeah, and it ruined my race. So I was trying to be extra cautious and give this guy time to go.
Yeah.
While I was doing that, I was slowing down, and I I didn't think it would be an issue. I was gonna have to dive in late, and some of the other people said, "Oh, you're gonna miss your box totally." There, if I was going pit road speed, if I was going 55 miles an hour, yeah, I would have missed my box. But that's why I was slowing down to enter it. And when I made the attempt to do that, Mike was two cars back of me, and as I dove down into my box, he simultaneously dove to the left to pass us.
Right.
So from where I'm sitting, and I know that people are going to disagree and think because I get to be on here and say this that like I get to kind of dictate the narrative, but from where I'm sitting, if the roles had been reversed, if I were Mike, I would have simply went to the outside lane, which was unoccupied. But I was told that was maybe not the brightest suggestion, but that's what I would have done and not hit any cars. Or you see 2 lanes of traffic, you see guys coming out of their boxes, you see guys going in. I would go to the path of least resistance. So I get down there and I get turned around, and I went from I think I entered the pits and I was like roughly top 15-ish, give or take a little bit, and
Right.
because of that, I came out 30th or something. And like I've said on here many times, I know that like I'm not a top flight cup driver. I'm running in cup to race with these guys that
Get
are
experience.
yeah, they're better than me. I'll tell damn near every one of them, and they're not every single one of them, but the guys that are running in the top 15 every week that have been in the Cup Series for a couple of years, I know these guys are better than me. I'm trying to learn from them, and I was having a pretty good run. I ended up having, I think I finished 13th or something. So I wasn't super mad about it. But immediately after the race, I've never protested anyone before. So I sent David a message and and I could even show you, but I was like, hey, David, I've never protested before, and I'm not super concerned with what happens to the guy. I just don't want this to happen anymore to other people.
Correct.
Because if it was someone that's not me, someone that's racing for a championship, they're top 10 in points, it would be an even bigger deal, which it's become a big deal for no reason in my opinion.
Yes.
But David made his ruling. I'm sure he talked to whoever else he has to talk to about these things and came to their conclusion. They docked Mike 2 points, and I think he gets a EOL or a no quali or something for a week or two. Something like that.
I don't even think I gave him a no qual. I think I just put him on a probationary period where he just can't cause any more incidents or whatever.
Yeah. Probation and 2 points. So then again, if we turn the tables, if I were in his position, if I had won that race and I've locked myself into the playoffs, I don't give a discount fuck about 2 points.
Nope.
I think it's hard to say. I think everyone knows this because there are people that are disagreeing with me. You can't pass people on the left in pit lane because guys are entering boxes and coming out of boxes. Like it's just never going to work.
Well, what I think his main argument or what what he was trying to get across, his point was that he doesn't want people to think that he wrecks guys on pit road. He wanted to clarify that he was trying to argue his point of why he did what he did, because he didn't want to be seen as a guy who just drives through people, whatever it may be. And I understand his point. I get it. But at the same time, it was really unnecessary. Like the whole argument was unnecessary. Like you, I didn't read most of it. I read some of it, but I didn't read most of it because I'm just not going to waste my time reading. Because the penalty had already been handed down. He was told prior that he was being protested. He was told prior to contact David Brackett. He was told to appeal it prior. And so all these things were given to him and told to him. And I was kind of like when he was sitting there calling out race control, to be honest, like I was kind of getting mad about it because I'm like, hold up. I told you specifically the other day that this was out of my hands, that it was no longer my call.
So I'll be the heavy on the rest of this after
Yes.
looking at all the replays that everybody sent in. He sent in a bunch of stuff, bunch of replays too. When you look at it, so I'm kind of, I don't want to say realist, but yeah, it's a simulator and everything. So with the rules, you stay to the right. Part of the argument is, well, these guys slowed down. They weren't doing pit speed. Well, if you're driving down the freeway and you can't move to the left to pass a car in front of you that's going slow, you don't just drive through it. You can't move up. You just, it's kind of common sense. You have to slow down. Well, and whether you're racing or not, if you're going to lose a couple tenths, couple seconds, you still can't put your car into where there is somebody already. He chose not to slow down and figured, oh, they're not doing pit road speed. So I'm just going to go around to the left and pass him on the left because his pit was, he qualified well and was in, I believe, the top 5.
P2. He qualified P2. So his box is way down there.
Way down. So you're allowed 3 in, 3 out. He chose not to. You, I believe, were doing what you could to let cars that had pitted earlier. You were back in the field at that time. They had already completed their pit stop, were pulling out. You merged, slowed to let them in. You got some help from behind from another car that was coming out. There was a little bit of contact, but everything checked out and everything would have worked out fine. He chose to try to pass on the left.
And that's the issue.
Made contact and spun you. If there had been no contact and hadn't spun, then there would have been no problem. But he made the move to the left, and it's kind of by the rules. You don't do that, and it's kind of over and done. As far as I'm concerned. And I didn't just make that decision on myself. That I showed a few people the video, and everybody said the same thing. So,
and that's the thing, is it's not just one person making the decision. It's a collective of peers, other racers, other guys in the league, and they're making that decision based on the rule book. And the rules state, that you need to stay to the right side on pit road. And I get there's times when that's not feasible, but at this point in time, there was no reason for it not to happen. Like you said, you could have slowed down, or as Alex pointed out, and this is the first thing I saw, he had 20 feet to the right to go around him. Now I know there's a line there, a double yellow or whatever it was, but still, that is allowed if you think that you need to go around them. That because for one, we're under caution. Let's just be realistic. You're not losing anything really. We're under caution. You're not going to gain much. You're not going to lose much. It may be a position, maybe 2 at the most, but we're under caution. The need to slow down here was more evident than the need to try to hurry up and get around somebody. Because prior to that, we had saw he passed another car, which he did it on the right side, which is fine, but he'd already passed another car while everybody else, they're under caution and they're kind of just like taking their time, easing through it, whatever. And I get that he's in a race, it's competition, and he's a competitor, and he wants to hurry and get there. And I get that, and I 100% understand the thought process behind that. But at the same time, you just can't run people over or not listen to what the rules say. And ultimately, it's he's the poster boy for not doing this again. That's essentially what we're trying to get out is we don't want people to do this again. So yeah, you were given a 2-point penalty. It's 2 points.
And the bad thing with all this, with the stage racing, and just I see it in real NASCAR, I see it in other leagues, in this league, is everybody's so aggressive. They want that stage points. The race really doesn't start until after the stage. And y'all can look it up on YouTube and do the research on the question on why Carl Edwards retired. Mm-hmm. If you actually look at some of his interviews, he talked about when they started talking about throwing NASCAR cautions or competition cautions or commercial cautions. He's like, why?
Yep.
Then it just breaks it down into 3 or 4 different races. you have the first 10 laps or the 20. No, it's the whole race. And I'll say I'm old and I just do this for fun. I'm not that competitive anymore. I try to have good days, and it's just, I do it for fun. It's
I
to
think most
race
people do
that
it for
hard,
fun.
to race
It,
that hard as some of these guys do for the stage, just for, some of these guys racing hard
1
for
point, 2 points,
save it for the end of the race. It's NASCAR. It's if we did this for 500 laps or 500 miles, like we kind of simulate it with 50% fuel and tires
50% length.
for the length of the race, then you still got to. That's
Some of this is still long racing. I mean, that's just the simple of it. These are long races, and there's strategies involved. And we tell everyone, you got to know the rules and follow the rules, and that's just the gist of it, man. You got to do what the rules say, and that's ultimately that's what we're breaking down, is saying that the rule was stay right on pit road,
and you got to finish the race.
Yeah.
Yep. And not so. I'll say this: we've talked about, like, when you're new to a league and making good impressions and not making a bunch of enemies right off the rip. And I'm not saying that Mike has made an enemy out of me. I'm not going to go out and wreck him. I don't care. This whole thing's behind me, but it's a thing that he's carried on. But if I were in his position, and if he listens to this, if he's listened to this podcast in the past, he knows that I'm not a guy that's going to be competing for the championship. He's won a race. He is going to be competing for a championship. So let's say, we're in the playoffs and he's having to run through the field or whatever, through a pit cycle. Would you rather have, a good rapport with me, or I had to see these big walls of text that I'm not going to bother? And obviously I know, like, he's frustrated, and it's frustrating for me to, like, for someone to make this big deal about it. Like,
it's frustrating for me as well.
I'm not.
You already admitted you didn't read them all. I read them all.
Dude, just like I told him, if my wife sends me a text that long, it's like, just call me. I'm not. I ain't doing it, bro.
At this point, we might as well have a conversation about it in the voice chat. The way I look at it.
But here's the thing: when let's say we get to Phoenix and he's in the final four, am I going to race him harder if I'm running back there and 13th and 14th, and he's got to come through the field? Yeah, I sure am.
And that's part of it. A lot of these new guys, they don't understand. Yeah, you could be fast and stuff like that, but if you piss off the guys that you're racing with every week, because you got to race with these guys for 21 weeks, that's a long time.
Yeah.
All right.
This ain't Gran Turismo. Like, we're stuck together. I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me.
And we talked about Rocky Boyd last time, and Rocky's aggressiveness that we saw. It was just, really wasn't necessary.
Yeah, we had Keith on last time. It's the same kind of thing that he dealt with. Like, there were, like, I never had any, like, personal racetrack interactions with him, but I saw how he was treating other people when he first got here, and it's like, if he gets to me, I'm not just going to let him by.
Right. And
he's got to earn it.
Yeah, that's how a lot of these guys that have been here, and new guys come in and they don't understand. It's not just, it's a little bit more than just a racing community in a sense, because we have built relationships with each other, and stuff that's spilled over into real life at this point, where we have friendships built over course of many, many years now. So we love having these new guys. We love having people in here, and obviously for me, any kind of controversy to a certain extent is good, because it means the product is good. It means that people care and they're putting time in, and they actually give a shit about what's going on here. So that's, a good thing for me, to a certain extent, but then it gets to the point where it's just almost like you're banging your head against the wall. Like, it's, 2 points, you're locked in the playoffs. Who gives a shit, man? Playoffs, 2 points ultimately isn't going to make any difference.
It makes no difference because he's in the playoffs. Those aren't playoff points.
Exactly. It makes no difference. Only thing it can make a difference is potentially regular season championship. Maybe, if he loses, let's say he's number one and he finishes 2 spots behind somebody for the regular season championship, that might take away 5 bonus points going from first to second in the regular season points. I don't see that happening though. I just don't see it happening. So
it's a small likelihood, and
the Cup Series is stacked. Let's just be realistic.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying like I'm God's gift to driving, but like I'm pretty competitive in trucks. I get out there in the Cup Series, and these dudes are fucking flying by me.
Yeah, it's a big difference. Big difference. I mean, some of the guys are having a hard time adjusting back to the competition. I've noticed in the Cup Series, like some of the guys that used to run with us, they've come back and they're having a little bit of a time adjusting to the level of competition that we now have in the Cup Series, because those dudes are fucking fast, man. There ain't no doubt about it.
I got a front row seat.
Honestly,
you run it too, don't you, David?
Yeah, I'm dabbling. I did half a season in another league with the new cars. I don't care for the new cars, but I figured I'd do it again. I got my son back interested. He loves them, and I think you guys will see that he's fast. He does really good in another league, and he's fast.
Wyatt's definitely fast.
I've seen it in spurts, I'm sure, over the duration of the season. Like the Macho Man Randy Savage says, the cream will rise to the top, and I think Wyatt is a part of that cream. I know he's fast. Directly, but I got a lot of people.
I got some splash over. You had the pressure too high.
I cranked the knob up way too soon. I wasn't ready for it, and then it got all over everybody.
So
too much pressure.
I went ahead and uploaded the results for tonight, just so we have a reference. But obviously, I've still got penalties and shit to go through, and dole out some stuff to guys. The point penalties.
Gets to do the replays and everybody sent the to review.
I've got some point penalties to apply and stuff, for cautions in the first 10 laps, Alex, and others as well. So I've got to do all that. But so preliminary uploading of the stats for now. Dustin Ronsettle, our resident golf coach from Pikeville, Kentucky.
The piss missile. God, he loves it when I say it.
Pulls out the dub tonight at a wild and very, very different Atlanta. Talk about the track, guys. You all were there. You lived it. You went through it. Talk about this track and how much different it is from the last rendition.
I'll give you the lead off here.
Tri-oval.
The quad oval. Let's talk about how much different it is from what we had a season ago on here.
I hate the quad oval, or the tri-oval, quad oval, whatever you want to call it. That just sucks. It's hard to freaking give somebody room underneath. You don't want to pinch them down underneath the red line, but if you don't take too much, then you're going to be right into the wall. So that's a sketchy area. And if somebody's right on you, maybe give you a little push, it gets really loose. And a lot of guys, I don't think understand. You do have to burp the throttle going into the corners a little bit to keep your momentum
100%.
And that's why I tried to stay in the middle lane most of the time, and I was just freaking cruising through a bunch of it and making up time trying to get laps back.
Thanks to me. Thanks to me.
I'm not going to blame you. As maybe you had the ass blaster was leaking. Maybe you had a little water under your tires. I don't know.
Water pressure was up too high.
And I know you said earlier Dave didn't necessarily agree with the call that was made. But as we all know, we're supposed to be responsible for the nose of our trucks, and you got down underneath the 46, and the way that track it's so wide on the back stretch and the front stretch, and then it closes up in the corners. So
quickly.
it gives you a false sense of space, a false sense of a gap. And like I know exactly, because I was in a practice race with a guy on Saturday that did the exact same thing to me, where I was running P2 on the outside, come through the tri-oval. He gets, or quad oval, he comes up and sticks it in there. And then we're going in the corner, and all of a sudden, all that space goes away. I'm maintaining my lineup next to the wall, and he just hits me in the left quarter. So, of course, I was like, the gap's not there. Why are you taking it? So the same kind of thing was what I saw tonight was you had space for a second, and then all of a sudden that space was gone. And as him being the leader in that line, it kind of goes to what David said. You kind of got to burp the throttle and get out of it. And like, can you just run through what happened, like what you're thinking or experiencing at the time?
Yeah, this might make some people hate me a little less, because my intention was not to go 3 wide there at all. So I'm racing with Flex Motorsports this season, and at the start of the race, I think we were 246 starting on the outside, and my main priority at the beginning of the race, I think it was Bobby out front, and I wanted to make sure that he got a lap led. So we fire off, we come through 1 and 2. I end up on the bottom, coming into 3, and teammates are still on the outside. I've got whoever it was in front of me that hates me.
46, Sean Kostritza.
46. Yep, and I'm sure he hates me, and he has every right to. Basically, I tried to back off of him some to take some draft off of him to help my guys get a charge on the outside. And when I did that, we're all kind of slowing up into the turn more than I anticipated. So I ducked down to the inside, and at a normal restrictor plate or tapered space or whatever you want to call it, a Talladega or Daytona, you just slide right back up in there and everything's fine. At Atlanta, you don't have that real estate at all.
Nope.
So I ended up really we were almost side by side, I think. It's been so long ago, and there were 900 wrecks, it felt like. And we ended up entering 3 wide, and my butthole was already like this on entry, and I was like, my God, I hope we make it through this, because if we don't, I'm going to look like the jackass of the year. And buddy, did I look like the jackass of the year, because that was lap 2. That was the second caution. I wasn't even the first one.
Yeah, Bridges broke the first one out. So I'll go ahead and say you were still behind him, believe it or not, going into the corner. Okay. It may have felt like you were side by side, but you were actually still behind him going in the corner. And then so we hit the corner, and he's in that bottom lane, so he's already on the bottom at this point. And your truck, I mean, was still under the line a little bit. You're under the red line just a little bit, like your left sides were, and you just came up and you just barely nicked it. Barely, I mean, just enough to get him loose, of course. But then what really in my mind caused the incident was when you went to go around him. That's where the problems really occurred. And essentially that's why I wasn't too worried about the little contact and him getting loose, because he was saving it. It was when you went up to go around him, you sideswiped somebody else, and that's what brought it all up.
I was too high. I overcorrected. I got too high. And then, because normally, so when you see someone get sideways like that out of Talladega or Daytona, they're coming up all bets are off, and I was just trying to get away, and the racing it's because I did it on the fucking second or third lap or whatever it was, and it was just too early to be doing bullshit like that. And I knew that I felt the most bad, because when I looked in my rearview mirror and I just see it looks like Desert Storm back there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm just gonna have to eat so much shit for this. And rightly so. I just shouldn't have done it. Period.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the biggest thing is take away from it is, you made a mistake, you owned it. If they're mad, they can be mad, 24 hours, and then they just need to get over it and move on. To be, is the way that we look at it as race cars. Drivers, we always have 24 hours to be mad about something, and then you got to move on to next week and get prepared for next week.
The good news was there were so many other wrecks that some people might be focused on other shit by now.
Well, and here's something I want to touch base on real quick is drivers that come down from a higher tier series to substitute for teammates. 2 weeks in a row, I've had a guy cause a caution that came down and raced for somebody else, or subbed or whatever, and they've caused an incident. Last week, it was Jeremiah Hobbs. He took out Ed Osborne of all freaking people, man. Ed Osborne having a run of his life. Not really, probably run of the season, I should say. Having one of his best runs of the season. And Ed doesn't do this a lot. I mean, Ed's kind of a mid-pack guy. He doesn't have a lot of top 5, top 3 stuff going on. So this is one of his first times where he's going to potentially podium.
He's been putting time in.
He's getting better, 100%.
He's getting really fast.
Yeah, he is, but it's not normal, is what I'm saying. Like you can see the improvement, the level that he's improved though over the course of the last few seasons. But Hobbs goes in and cleans him out coming to the start finish line at Michigan, or I'm sorry, it was on the backstretch. He cleaned him out coming off a 2 on the backstretch. He got right up next to him, like right here, and it pulled the air off of Ed. It made Ed move up. And instead of going to the wall, Hobbs decides that he's going to try to keep it right on him, and they wrecked. And, Ed gets shuffled all the way out and destroyed. And then I think Hobbs ended up still having some semi-decent finish. But here's my point. You guys are running down a series. You can't earn the pot because the money goes back into the fund for those guys, right? It goes back into the truck series championship money. So if you win a race, then that money is going to go towards the top 5 at the end of the season. It's going to be dispersed throughout those guys. So there's absolutely, in my mind, other than points and just trying to have a decent finish, there's no reason to drive hard as I'm seeing. Just like tonight, we had Bridges on lap one. Lap 1 comes up and side swaps the 80 Drew Prohl and takes him out. And, these guys are racing for more than just points. They're racing for a shot at the top 16. So you guys have to be mindful of this. Like, understand that when you come into this series or any series for that matter, that you're not a regular in and you're racing in it, you have to show some discourse, I guess, and not wreck the guys that are running for top 16 bid.
I just hope that the guys coming down from the upper series, just because we're racing trucks and it's kind of a beginner series, or we're still competitive. We're still pretty fast.
They are.
And just because you come down from the Cup series doesn't mean that you're just going to run up front. You still got to use the same racecraft and race etiquette as you do in the upper series.
Correct.
And I race up there, and there's some guys up there that are shady, and their race etiquette and racecraft ain't that great.
Yep.
Yeah, they can be fast, but they're fast up by themselves doing qualifying laps. But
being fast isn't
around them, they can't do it.
Being fast doesn't always necessarily mean you're a good driver, though. And that's the thing, is you can be fast in series, but if you're coming down and ruining these other guys' races, no bueno, man. Can't have it. Just there's no room for it. We just need to do better. That's the only thing I can say is do better.
One of the things that'll fix this is go back to like we did in first season. It was a blast. We had I learned so much on just getting back into this again and doing this, but running with Kinder, Justin Winters, Lancaster, the old group with Grenier, Robertson, my kid Wyatt. Just we go out there and practice races, and you don't feel comfortable with that. Kinder used to do it to me all the time. You don't feel comfortable with that, so he's going to run you a little bit closer, put it right on your door. Yep. You do that in practice races. You get comfortable with it, and that makes it brings everybody up a little bit more. But now you got guys that, we're just going to practice with our guys.
Yep.
So you guys can run fast together because you have your team marching orders or however you want to play that. But you get around other people, you don't know how they run, and it shows in the races now. If we had more participation in some of the practice stuff and the camaraderie, the racing would be unbelievable.
Yeah,
But
I have to say that I think that's one of the things that we need to get back to. These practice races are being hosted. I'm hosting them for everyone's benefit. Utilize that time, utilize those practice races, and I know not everyone can and at all, but I put up several over the weekend, and so did other people. Like, there's opportunities to practice and get the racecraft, because that's what it comes down to is the racecraft. They just they don't have, or they're lacking certain racecraft that they should have, especially
I even
coming
got
from
the
a top series.
in the practice race the other night, I even got a chance to brake check Brian Terry just because I could.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Just for fun. He deserves it.
So one of the biggest things tonight that stands out to me was the unfortunate outcome of Wes. And I know he took out a lot of drivers in this incident. Wes is leading. He led 44 laps. Man, he was looking like he was going to be the guy to beat tonight, and he just barely got down on the apron, man, going into one, and it got loose. And then Tyler Evans was there. Tyler unfortunately didn't have anywhere to go. And it caused a massive, massive wreck. Took out, Fernando Takahashi was running top 3 all night. Dude was having a race of the season. He was kicking ass and taking names. Best run I've seen him have in a long time, actually, at all in this season. He had a, ecstatic run, but ends up getting taken out. Which is unfortunate because he was doing really well. And it's fun to see guys like that. He's a new driver, man. He comes in and, he's not had that good a run through lately, gets caught up in other people's BS or whatever. But tonight he was running really well and doing a really, really good job. And unfortunately, when Wes got down there and that caused that accident, it took him out, as well as several of the other guys that were running up front all night. Were you all close to that?
I wasn't close. I was on the radio for it, though.
I could see a little bit of it, and I hope everybody understands and realizes that 99% of the issues and the accidents that shit happen, nobody plans on it. Everybody's trying to be competitive and goes, race good.
Yeah.
And nobody does it intentional.
No.
There's very seldom that is intentional. And I know nobody's as perfect as me and never makes a mistake, as I posted a week or so ago. And that was kind of just, a cynical kind of, you guys understand that.
No, I'm taking you seriously. I know that you're perfect, and we're all going to bow down at your altar.
And if you guys would just get the fuck out of my way, I'd win every race.
Yeah, if that's the way it should. That's the way everybody thinks, though. It's like, if you just get the fuck out of my way, I'd be dominating this. Unfortunately, that's not how it goes.
That's the average iRacing driver. But like I was saying, nobody plans on screwing up, and shit happens. So I understand people get mad and get pissed off and don't like this guy and don't like that guy because he did that. Nobody's perfect in there. So it just take it with a grain of salt and have fun, and just hopefully everybody learns a little bit.
So Tyler Evans was, let's talk about this situation. Tyler Evans was a lap down or something at this point in time, because he got caught up in the incident with Wes, right? So he's a lap down, and the leader, CJ Mason, is coming up on him. And Tyler's on the bottom, right? CJ comes up behind him. Well, instead of merging to the top right away, Tyler kind of sits there. Well, when CJ goes to go high, then Tyler goes high. It looks awful. It looks, I mean, I hate to even use the word, but it looks intentional to some aspect. I'm not saying that it was, and I don't think that it was, but that the way that it looks is bad. It looks real bad. So in the rules, the state says a lap car, you're supposed to maintain your line, and stuff like that, right? So he doesn't maintain his line, and I make that announcement on the radio, and he's like, well, I don't think it should be. Well, it doesn't matter what you think it should be. The rules dictate what it is. So, and therefore by utilizing the rule, it says you got to maintain your line as a lap vehicle. He wasn't maintaining it. He was kind of all over the place when the leaders came up, and I understand the leaders had been calling it out or something like that, but it's still your responsibility to know where everyone's at. You have relatives, utilize your relative. You got to know where guys at. You got a mirror. He said he was messing with his fuel and at the time and getting ready for a pit stop, and I get that. maybe have that stuff ready on a button or a box. That way you don't have to worry about moving around the mouse and stuff. That's just that's part of racecraft, Um, and unfortunately, Tyler has racked up quite a few incidents already.
I just did the math. That would be 74.
74.
Oh,
74 on the season.
On the season.
He got to be close to me. I got to be right around that number also.
Yeah,
I think I've been in every incident in every race so far this season.
Unfortunately, I saw Tyler basically whenever the 3 truck got wrecked by Bobby. I saw the 67 Michael Cole go to swerve and miss it. Well, he's slowing down and trying to miss the wreck. He gets ARCA braked by Tyler, and it's just things like that. You have to be. You see somebody wrecking, you got to slow down. You got to get out of the gas. You got to understand. There's this racecraft is so much more than just being able to run door to door or push somebody. It's paying, situational awareness. That's where we used to touch on this topic a lot back in the day, was people have to have situational awareness. You have to know when somebody's coming up behind you, or if, for instance, they're wrecking in front of you, you can't just full throttle on into that corner.
Yep. It's not Days of Thunder.
No, and the yellow, when the yellow comes out, your positions are frozen. So you're not gaining or losing anything. There's no reason to just continue hammering down and run over somebody else.
So David, you felt like you've got a ton of incidents on the season.
Oh, I know I do.
No, you got 39. It's not great, but it ain't 74.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's a
feels
lot.
like every
74, man.
Happened.
And I'm not trying to pick on Tyler.
Not either.
I don't know him super well. I like what he's bringing to the league. I know he's got
Great guy.
He's got like 400 teams in all 3 series or
5
whatever.
Teams total, yeah. He's a great guy.
He's the kind of guy that we need, and I don't think necessarily that he's a dirty driver. And we know how iRacing goes. You're going to get 4Xs and stuff for shit that other people do. But when you accrue a number like that, you're putting yourself in a position.
Put a target on yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much putting a target on yourself, but you're putting yourself in risky situations often.
Well, what I mean by you're putting your target on yourself for others to ridicule is what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, there is that, but what I'm getting at is maybe he's not causing all of these, but he is in these instances.
He's caught up in them some way.
Yeah, where it's tight racing, and maybe at times where there shouldn't be, like I did tonight. I'll be the first one to say that. And there are times, and I two what?
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row for me, for sure. Yeah, it has not been the cleanest shit, because last season I had the fewest incidents in the league, and I talked shit about that all year. I don't think I'm going to be able to hold that one down, but it's
still early.
Yeah, we got a long ways to go, and things are wild. But when you accrue a number like that, it's not necessarily that you're a dirty driver. It's that you're in tight racing situations, and there are times where you just have to learn to just back out and live to fight another day. And I'd like to say I've done that. I did that last season. Maybe I unlearned some things and I need to relearn them, but there's a time and a place for everything. And I'm preaching to myself right now. I shouldn't have done what I did on lap 2 or 3 or whatever it was. You got to let the race develop. I was trying to race or help a teammate out and get a position out of it at the same time. Sometimes you just got to let it go. It's lap 3. It doesn't fucking matter, especially at a super speedway. You just let it go.
Well, here's I'm just looking at the stats, right? And with 4 races in, he's 27 incidents above second place, which is Derek Puckett. And Puckett's another one I've got to kind of say I've seen some questionable driving out of the dude, the 3 truck. Tyler has 74 and Puckett has 47. Tyler's accrued 27 more than the second place guy. He's 18.5 incidents per race, and Derek's at 11.75. So That's a lot.
That's averaging a black flag
per race.
Yes.
Per race. Yeah. I mean, that's.
So let's
just got to clean up. I mean, it's all I'm trying to say is we just got to clean it up. Everybody needs to be aware.
Let's look at those numbers a little bit. So just because we know how this works, we'll take a third off just from somebody else's incident that they're collected in. Yep. But still, that is kind of a lot. We'll give a third just for not his fault. But yeah, I wanted to also give a shout out Cody Verrill tonight. Did you see that?
Yeah, Cody did a really good job tonight.
And first season he was with us last year. He was a little rough, but boy,
he didn't run last season. He ran the season before. Remember?
Season before,
and he was very rough. I will say he was very rough. Yep. But tonight, man, Cody come out and he had 8 incidents. Had the fastest lap of the race. Led 6 laps. Did really, really well. I mean, very proud of Cody and the way that he ran. It's very, very good.
Yep. Now the main boy.
All right, my friends, we are on the penultimate segment. One of my favorite words to use. But before we get to the picks and whatnot,
can you spell that?
I can. You want me to?
Yeah.
PENULTIMATE, and I'll go get my bachelor's degree in English off the shelf for the next show. But before we get to all this horse shit, we're going to kind of throw it to our special guest, a guy that's been here from the beginning. He's seen where the league started, where we got to, and that's what he's going to tell us about. So, Mr. David Brackett, why don't you tell us about the journey of Bluegrass and where this all started? Just a little star in Jason's eye as he puts an eye drop into it. Holy shit.
Washing the remnants of Brian Terry's flashlight out of them eyeballs. It's not a telescope, Jason.
Gotta clean them up. Gotta clean them up.
So actually, I got to give it to my son Wyatt that he got me into iRacing. I used to run back in the original series on dial-up with all the old NASCAR 2003 was the newest one. Yeah, I've been doing this a while. And Wyatt got back into this, and he got into the league. I was like, I think I joined halfway through the first season of Bluegrass and met Jason, and yeah, he's a peach.
Isn't he though? Just the jolliest fella you'd ever know.
He is. I
gotta give kudos. You started all 12 races with us actually in season 1. Yeah.
I thought I missed a couple at first, but yeah, my son got me in. He freaking liked it, and he petered out a little bit. He's young, and Jason was kind of rough. The end of
no way,
middle of season 3. But Wyatt's come back, and I've seen a huge change in Jason, and I told him earlier, I was like, dude, you're handling it. You're getting so much better and way better with your tolerance and just handling things. So yeah, it's fun. And a couple of us have been running other leagues. It's kind of petering out, and we're looking at coming back, running maybe more Bluegrass. That's why I came back with a next gen series. I don't like the car, but it's a fun league, and the camaraderie and some of the guys that were there for the first season have come back. There's a couple more I'm hoping that'll come back. Casey Barlow, and just in case he's listening and picks us up, he's a blast. Hopefully he comes back.
He's working a lot right now, so it's difficult for him.
And I understand how that works for people. Noggle, he's another one that I kind of miss.
He broke his wrist. He should be back within the next few weeks, but
Nate Mower, I believe he runs on Tuesday nights. I'm in another league for right now, but I believe he runs Tuesday night. He was always fun to run around and to be with. I enjoy some of the guys that probably don't like me still. From one of the first season in Truck Series, Wes Wiggin. He probably thinks I'm still a dirty driver because I took him out and I admitted it.
Hey,
You know,
it takes a man to admit when you've done someone wrong. I was a similar thing. I don't think Ed holds it against me anymore. My first season, I took yeah, I was a little mad about how one of his teammates raced me, and I took it out on Ed, and he's never paid me back for it because from
he probably
all
races Judge harder though. Still,
I'm sure, and absolutely
Yep.
deserved, and that's kind of how these things go. Um, but not I don't want to talk about me and other people. So you guys have been here the longest. This is my third season overall. Um, which you guys just mentioned, like the first season was 12 races.
Yep.
Was it just so it was just a single cup series
Yep.
the first season?
All we had the first season was Cup cars. We started at Daytona and we finished at Kentucky. Travis Miller ended up being our season 1 champion. He was the overall points leader that year. We didn't do playoffs or anything. We didn't bring playoffs in until season 2. It was more of an old school style of racing, and it was real short. It was an interesting season for sure. Um, I have to say, I will own, I was really brash and abrasive early on.
No way.
In the first few seasons because I was very protective of what I was building. And, it was like anybody that wanted to say anything negative, it was like, shut the fuck up right now or I'll kick your ass,
Yeah,
and
this
you
is my
can't,
baby.
And that's the thing is I've learned haters are going to watch you more than fans. You have to, my mind just went blank. You have to welcome those guys with open arms. Embrace. That's the word I was trying to. Yeah, that's the word I was trying to think. Embrace. You have to embrace the hate, and you have to welcome those guys in with open arms, so that even though they don't like you or whatever, they're still contributing to what you're doing and what you're building. And ultimately, you have to. The guys that are here, you as long as you follow the rules and you do what the rules say, you can't take shit personal. Like that's the biggest thing is like I would take shit personal because this guy was mad at me because I penalized him or whatever. Well, it's not me. I'm not the one really doing it. Yes, I'm the one doing it, but I'm not the one actually doing it. You're the one that caused me to have to penalize you. You're the one that broke the rule. And as long as you follow the rules and you stick to what the rules say, all the rest of it can just piss off because it doesn't matter. It's all about sticking to the rules.
Do you have it set up where you have to click the button after you read the rules?
No.
And say that you've read
in
that?
Discord, yes. In Discord, yeah. Okay. It's not set up it's not set up for the it's not set up to read the league rules. It's set up to read the Discord rules. You have to read the Discord rules.
It's like the Apple EULA agreement. Everybody just scrolls down through and just clicks the button so they can keep on going. So some of these people, and kudos to Travis Twitty for making the cutoff last season because he went and read the rule book.
Yep.
My man. My fucking he's still a hero to me for this.
I wanted him to win the race tonight. I'm not gonna lie, I was pulling for him.
Yeah,
I was rooting for him big time. Big time.
But it just goes to show people need to actually read the rule book, because when you come back after, make a decision on a race call and looking at replays, when you post the actual rules up there and they come back and still have comments, you kind of don't have anything to say. These are the rules. This is what we go by. It's black and white. I don't play in gray. It's just black and white. This is the rules. This is what's going on. We go by the penalties, everything like that. It's just black and white.
Yep.
And anything in the gray area you want to bitch about and cry about, then too bad. We go by black and white.
Yep.
And I don't get mad, and I don't hold grudges. It's just, let's go have fun and let's do better.
One thing I can say is it's all about who you surround yourself with. That's how you grow as a person, and that's how you become a better leader, is by putting the right people around you. You have to, a leader depends on those people that they put around them as much or more than they depend on their own know-how or whatever, their own stuff, like their own experiences. You take and put the right people around you as a leader, and it's almost like you're fortifying what you've already got. So, and I can say, early on, I didn't necessarily have the right people around me. Obviously, once Alex became part of the group, Dave Farmer, David, you've been here. You put those guys around you, and you all grow together, and you build on what's there. You can really, it's amazing what you can accomplish. I mean, I don't think anybody understands, besides maybe the ones that are really close to the circle, and how much work really does go into managing and running a league. It's a lot, man. It's not just like pick it up every once in a while and put it down. You've got to stay on top of this shit every single day. Your messages coming in left and right, guys. Obviously tonight they're going to be sending replays, and
Yeah.
when I tried to handle all that alone, it was too much. It was way too much. And David, the whole time, is preaching to me. David Brackett is preaching to me. You got to put guys around you to filter out the bullshit. And once I listened and heeded his advice, that's when things become a lot easier for me. And like I said, I got a big salute to you, because if it hadn't been for that, I would have probably still been digging in the mud, so to speak, and dealing with bullshit. Because now that we have a system aligned with the league and we can handle things, if it's serious, it comes to me. All the minor stuff, is under the surface, so to speak. And that's the way it should be, because that allows me to focus on competition and making sure that this business is ran as well as it can possibly be ran. So, like I said, big hats off to you, man. Kudos. Appreciate everything you've done to help with getting me in the right headspace and getting me to see that it's the bigger picture. Ultimately, is the thing for me, is having the right guys around you.
Just don't shut it off yet. There's still room to grow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's always improvement.
Long way to go, and
nowhere near done.
Yeah, and maybe sometimes it's not going as fast as you wanted to, but we just got to keep just hammering away at it.
Yep. You're still here, what, season 6?
Yeah, and there's been times, I'll be honest, I wanted to quit. Like I've told David multiple times, dude, I just can't take it anymore. I'm going to quit. I can't do this.
Heard it.
And, yeah, I mean, Alex heard it too.
Times.
And
I said, Jason, just fucking quit. And then he didn't quit because he cares too much. And I knew that when I said it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, like, that was probably one of the closest times I've ever actually been to just being like, hey guys, here's all your money back. I'm done.
Social media doesn't help. When I did this years ago, we didn't have social media. All you had was email, and it was OLR, just a web base. It kind of went outside of the Sierra servers, and it was kind of the same thing, but it was just old. And this was, we were still running, I think it was Windows ME was the new operating system. So
Millennium Edition, baby.
Yep. So it was way different, and I don't know how you really do with this, with all the social media that's out there. And kudos to you, Jason, because I wouldn't be giving my freaking, hey, DM me, and hey, that's a new term for me, DM. I didn't know what that was for a long time, but yeah, you got guys blowing up your shit all the time now, freaking all about this. And yeah, so kudos to you for handling that. Yeah,
you
still got some work to do.
You don't have time for a life outside of this, though, honestly, is the problem at times. And I think that that was one of my biggest issues early in the building of this, was I was putting too much time into this. Mm-hmm. So now I've learned, fuck it. You've got to take me time. You've got to step away and just shut everything down, whether it be for 24 hours, whatever. You know, and Alex, he can attest to it. I've done it, like, and that helps me come back
Oh,
renewed
we
and
know.
refreshed. Yeah, I mean it happens, and
You
but
gotta delegate, and you have to have people that you can trust
trust, yes,
delegate to. And even I think that you trust me doing the stuff, and even when I do it, then I'm like, God damn! When I do this, everybody fucking hates me, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is how it is for me every week. And I'm like,
yep.
I'm just trying to be you, and then people are saying, oh, you're not Jason, and I'm like, well, fuck, man, I'm trying.
We
And
still
that's
have that. We still have that really. I don't know how you guys are with your religion and everything like that, but
I
our
don't
religion,
have
the
it.
bluegrass, is the rule book.
yes,
Yeah,
100%. And
And I've seen a lot of people, at least we're consistent, or Jason's consistent. Everybody that's in this is consistent. As long as we stick to that, then if you want to go someplace and find something better, we'll try to work with you as much as we can. But if you don't like that, then
here's the biggest
tear
thing that
your
I've
ass.
seen. Here's the biggest thing I've seen is these guys that the grass is greener on the other side. What ends up happening is they'll leave and they come right back. Maybe a season, 2 seasons, they're coming right back. It's because what we have is done the right way, and I do care so much about it that I make sure that it's continues to be done the right way. So, not just here to fuck people around or screw around with people. It's serious shit.
and it's never gonna be perfect. No
No,
one's always gonna agree with the call you make, or the
nope.
call I make, or the call that David makes. Anything that, and that is just. And I know I reference this a lot on here, but this is just like real life motorsports in this specific way. Uh, Guys don't always agree with the call of the officials. They're just like, fuck these guys. They're in the pockets of so and so, and they're doing this because they've got this on the line. And that's just this is as close as it gets, because I'm not like a professional driver, but like I've done this stuff, and this is how it goes sometimes. Like
In
someone makes a
Jason's mind, you're
call and it
semi-pro.
sucks.
Do what?
In Jason's mind, you're semi-pro.
Well, yeah, that's we
That's true.
technically, if
We're
you want to
doing
go
it
by
for money.
definition, is and
See?
we're doing it for
Yeah.
money. So we are semi-professional. If you want to look at it like, I mean, in real, like really lay it out there. That's what we are. I mean, at the end of the day, um, so maybe I at times, I expect more out of some of these guys. I'll be the first to admit it, but other times, I've come to realize it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to go the way we want it to go. Nothing's ever going to work out the way that anyone anticipates. But at the end of the day, it's still we're all having a fun time, and we want to continue to provide that experience, and that's what we're here for. We're here for an experience, and like Alex said, this is closest you can get to real racing, man.
Yep. And you said you expect more. You probably expected more out of me tonight, and I bet David did too. I bet a
Yeah,
lot of guys did. And
I was hoping to get up close enough to piss you off.
we'll save that for Bristol Dirt. I bet we pissed each other off
Nope,
there.
and
I'm
it
out. I'm
happens.
skipping that one.
Like here's the thing. Yes, I did
Uh,
expect more
uh,
out of you.
uh, uh, David, you're gonna skip Bristol Dirt because you don't like running dirt here live in front of the world. All 13 people that listen to us. I'll pay your fucking entry next week if you'll race with us on dirt.
Nah, you ain't gonna do that. But yeah, I say I'm not gonna. But yeah, I'm a glutton. I'll probably be there. I
I
don't miss
probably
glutton
will.
stuff.
Yeah, what else do you got to do?
Oh shit! I got all kinds of stuff that I could
What?
do.
What are you gonna do?
So we're
Tell
off
me one
next
thing.
week.
Yeah,
Um,
well,
we,
2
we
weeks.
actually won't be back until after the new year, after tonight. So I know a lot of guys were saying some stuff earlier about they thought maybe the break would give the guys time to get their shit together, and I seen somebody say no, it's probably going to be a bigger shit show at Bristol Dirt. We can't have that negativity and that negative mindset, because when you have that negativity and that negative mindset, you can you can speak that into truth, so to speak, and that shit will come back on you, man. Like Karma's real, bro. And I've seen it unfold on the racetrack. Racing, I call it racing karma because guy will do something and then X amount of laps later, he gets something done to him. And I'm like, see, fucking racing karma, dude. It's real.
Every sport has a god. I watch a lot of basketball, and when something happens, they'll say, "Well, the
I don't see no
basketball."
Celtics green in there.
You're goddamn right. You don't.
You're not a basketball fan then.
I'm a Spurs fan. It's tough times for us right now, but you can't hate us. But anything that happens on the field of competition, eventually it pays you back one way or the other. If you've done it the right way, it will pay you back handsomely. If you've done it the wrong way, it will pay you back in the way that you don't want it to. That's just how it goes.
Yep. And it can be from. Go ahead.
As much as I'd hate to say it, I'm kind of missing Keith Hackney. I'm not the hugest fan. He's good. I don't dislike anybody, but for somebody that puts so much time in, it shows.
Oh, and God, it shows.
Maybe it's a little bit of jealous because he has that ability to put that time in. But yeah, I guess the biggest thing for me is just he sounds like a little kid every time I hear him come on the mic.
And he's a 32-year-old man, and he sounds literally like he's 14.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
You can, if you look in the right places, you can find videos of him singing. And my God, is it not just the funniest fucking shit?
Fucking hilarious.
Fucking Keith, if you're listening, stop.
Has he got helium piped into his house at all times or something?
I think that's just what he breathes. That's why his head's so fucking big.
That's possible too. Yeah.
It's just pumping up, and he's just gonna float out of his fucking house.
He's probably so excited right now. He's probably got a little pecker boner from us talking about him right now.
Yeah, just hearing his name every time. His ears are tingling.
He's smiling ear to ear right now. He's loving it. He heard his name, and he's just like,
yeah.
Oh, they're talking about me on the podcast.
Well, he's lucky there was weather involved at Pocono, because I don't think he would have won that race at Pocono, because I know somebody that's really fast was really pissed that they lost power and couldn't race because
yeah.
Yep.
Hey, I don't think the results would have been the same, but we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I want to say though, Keith has grown in this league. Also, the dude went from wanting to fight with people, and he's kind of a nuisance to me in the beginning. Just to be honest, he was like one of those guys.
In the beginning,
he was a nuisance to me because he was always messaging me, bitching about this guy and that guy, and I'm like, God, was this guy? He reminded me a lot of Alex Huffman, to be honest with you.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God. And he doesn't talk that much, though.
And well, he did at times in DMs. But yeah, he's come a long way. He's a good dude. Just like Huffman's come a long way. Huffman, obviously, he and I didn't see eye to eye in season 1, 2 of Bluegrass. Like, I had to ban him from the Discord, ban him from the YouTube, like ban him from the Facebook. I mean,
can you still do that?
Yeah, but we've come a long way. So both of those guys have grown a lot. Huffman still has a little bit more growing to do, I feel like, but he's all right. He's a good dude. He means well. That's ultimately at the end of the day, that's what I see.
I just need him to just stop talking shit about my base paint jobs. I do it for fun, man. I ain't a graphic designer.
Oh, Jason. He loves ripping on.
Hey,
what I say, I do.
You came on my channel the other day, like, oh, you gotta have Scott Fritz or Alex Huffman do a base paint. Like, I don't need that shit, man. I'm here for fun. I wanted to say ass blaster real big on it, and I can do that.
It's fun though. It is fun ripping on you guys because y'all fucking sure as hell rip on me. God, mighty.
Clear comms.
Right.
Clear comms merch coming soon. So yeah, it's been fun, man. It's been a tumultuous ride. Starting this thing out and where we're at now compared to where we were is a big difference. But yeah, It's fun
Hey,
stuff, man.
Jason, you actually met these guys all face to face and in person, right? Huffman, Winners, they all rolled up in freaking F-350s, didn't they?
No, Huffman drove. He actually had a Camaro at the time. He had a blue
Yeah,
and white Camaro. He rolled up in.
He's a Ford or a Hyundai driver, not a Chevy guy.
He
He got to roll up in like a F-150 Eco
in a little wiener truck. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, something like that.
he rolled up in a Camaro. Riding Justin rode with him.
His girlfriend's car.
I don't think he has that Camaro anymore. He got rid of it and got something else now. I don't remember what it was.
No, that's like 3 cars ago for him now.
Yeah.
He tells me about it all the time, how he hates whatever he has.
But he's into the Prius now?
Pretty much.
Probably. and I know we're getting sidetracked here, so I'm going to bring us back before we shut the shit down. But we got to make some picks for Xfinity and Cup for the rest of this week.
Yep.
My God. So let's pull up the motherfucking roster and see what we got. Holy
I don't know
shit.
Xfinity.
I know. You're like me. Xfinity is the toughest one for me.
Dude, I never would have thought Jason Aerson would have won last week. Like I said, who the fuck is Jason Aerson? I mean, I'm not saying that.
That's the name of this episode. Who the fuck is Jason Aerson?
I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. We're cracking jokes, but like seriously, who are you, bro? Like, come talk to me. I need to know more about you. Like, I know you won last week,
Actually, I'd like to have you on the podcast next week. Why don't you come and show us your face so we know who you are?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. And then also to kind of branch off of that, anybody that wants to be on the podcast, DM me or Alex, either one. Let us know. Hey, if for instance, like if Mike Peters wants to be on the podcast, we talked about this briefly the other day, and Alex suggested it as a joke, and I was like, well, let's fucking do it. I was like, let's really bring him on if you want to do it. And so we ended up bringing David. We already had David lined up, but like we would love to have you on the podcast, give us your side of everything, and hopefully we're fucking beyond what we talked about last week. Hopefully that shit's way in the rear view. But if you want to put your side of whatever,
it's still going. There's another 17 paragraphs that I'm not going to read.
Yeah, but anything else, if you want to talk about, let's do it, man. Let's talk about whatever, and that goes for anybody else that wants to join us and talk to us. Feel free, to come and give us your side of things. Like, let us see a face with the voice. A lot of new guys that we want to actually get to know and see who they are. So, definitely reach out to us. That's what we're trying to get across. So picks.
All right. Xfinity time.
Who's first?
You guys, I can go first because I'm reading it, but I'm not going to feel real good about it because I'm scrolling through the names right now.
Where are we at?
Atlanta, yes, where we race tonight. You
such a crapshoot. Such a crapshoot.
That's the problem.
I already got my pick. If you want me to pick, but you could go if you want to go.
It. No,
I'm picking Mr. Jim Ott.
Jim Otter.
He's already got a win, but I think he's gonna. Yeah. I think he might be able to finagle a second one there.
Man, I'm having because I'm trying to figure out who all runs this full time because there's 48 guys in here.
Right.
I know who I want to pick because he's on my Cup team and he's your best friend right now, Jason.
Who?
I'm all right.
Blake. You're gonna pick Blake?
I'm gonna pick Blake because man, so I know Blake from just through like a Facebook group we're in, and I got him in here with us, and he's
your
a good
fault.
dude. It is my fault, and he came unglued last week.
Yes, he did.
And not only did he get kicked from the race, we kicked him from our channel and everything.
He's suspended this week at Cup.
Yeah, I know he's a good dude, and I hope that he's able to get it back on the rails. And with this being the single race that he has to focus on this week, I'm hoping that he's going to make me look like a genius because I know he's talented.
Yeah, I can see the talent.
He's a younger guy. The emotions get the best of him sometimes, as we've seen.
Yeah,
it is rut season. That could have something to do with it. It's rut season.
Yeah, that might be it for him.
That could be it. Yeah.
But Blake, if you're listening, if you're not listening, I'm gonna send you this fucking clip because I'm picking you, buddy. Let's get it.
We got Blake and Ott. Those are our two.
Oh.
Yep. So Bracket's back here. He's just got he's about to throw a dart, and he's like,
I could go low hanging fruit because I know who's going to put the time in.
Mm-hmm.
Is he running?
Oh, he's running. I know who you're thinking of. He's had a tough start too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'd like to pick him, but I think I'm going to go with Lancaster.
So he's got a win already. So we're looking for number 2 with Lancaster, number 2 with Ott, and then number 1 with Hensley. So,
and my third pick that somebody I'd really like to see up there is Twitty.
Yeah. Twitty's he doesn't run full time in Xfinity though. He just ran last week. He's only ran the one off.
I'll tell you what, when the day comes when he wins his race, I'm making 1 post an hour on the hour for 24 hours straight on our Facebook. It's all Twitty day. When he gets the win,
it's Twitty day.
We're celebrating, baby.
It's got to be the 29 posts.
Yep, you're right. It has to be. We got to go 24 and then another 5 just to make sure he knows we love him.
All right, so let's move on over to our Cup Series and pick a winner there. Who we got there?
Let's see. Let me get this bad boy pulled up.
I went first, so I'll go last this time.
Of course you will, you dirty bastard.
I'm trying to be fair.
No, it's not fair, man. Because shit, it's such a tough one to pick. Because, like you said, it's super speedways.
Man.
It is stacked, and it's
super speedway.
So it's just kind of like a dice roll. So this is what I'll say. I've got my pick locked up based on how things went tonight and how tempers can take people over and kind of take them out of the race. There's one person that cannot be affected by this. His emotions never get the best of him.
I know you're talking about already.
Yeah. Go ahead and say it for me.
Season 2 champ. Matt Grenier.
He's as cool and as calm as it gets. He never gets animated on the radio with us. I'm on the map
Team
boat
207,
tomorrow.
baby.
Yep.
All right, David.
I'm gonna go with Bracket.
Wyatt.
Yeah, you gotta specify. You gotta say. Hey, you don't get to get 2. You don't get 2 picks. You gotta specify.
The W bracket or the D bracket?
I go with the W.
W. Okay, so we got
good call.
Wyatt and Matt, and that puts me in the hot seat for Atlanta. I think it's going to be somebody. I think it's going to be Huffman.
Huffy?
He's going to ride he's already in the back one. He's got an EOL. He's going to stay in the back. He's going to try to avoid all the bullshit wrecks this is going to occur.
I'm telling you, Jason, one thing's going to happen, and he's going to get so fucking pissed that he can't see straight.
Why? What is it?
Because it's Huffy. He's just going to get mad.
No, he's going to stay in the back. He's going to stay in the back, and he's not going to go anywhere until after the stages and all that bullshit. Excuse me. Once they get done wrecking each other out, then he's going to go to the front. That's what I propose. He's going to ride around the back all freaking night long, just like 10 seconds off pace or some shit. Like,
all right. So double or nothing for this will go for the truck race next week. If
2 weeks,
2 weeks, if Grenier finishes ahead of Huffman, you got to sponsor Clean Driver. If Huffman finishes ahead of Grenier, then I'll sponsor Clean Driver and Hard Charger.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah, I gave you the
So-
odds.
So
That's
tonight, not this
That's
week.
how
not-
confident I am in Matt.
you're saying at Atlanta, if Matt finishes above Huffman,
Yes.
okay, all right.
Yes.
Just to
Yes.
clarify.
And so the following truck race, if you win, I'll sponsor Hard Charger and Clean Driver.
Okay.
But
And if not, I'll cover it. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. That'll work.
Skin in the game, baby.
Ooh, that's a rough one. You
think-
got the ice. You got the Iceman, and
Here's the cool thing, though. I get to dictate it.
yeah.
I can fuck this whole thing up for Jason.
Oh, that's true.
True. It's possible.
I won't do that, but I want him to know that I can.
He'll be over there on the bench with his buddy next time, though.
Well, whatever. I'll sit right down.
Be
Whatever. I
on
ain't
the sidelines.
Yep. I'll be out there spotting.
Yep. But this has been a good
What?
episode. I've enjoyed this one. We had David on. It's been fun. Anything we want to add to it before we call it a night?
You got to shout out the sponsors. I don't
Yep.
know all of them.
All right.
I know
I hope it's not
See.
the Butt Blaster 9000 because
it's
that's
the
not
number
been-
one sponsor is the Ass Blaster 9000, brought to you by Tushy Butt Products. You can buy them on Amazon.com. We got several levels of bidets. You guys think it might be weird to get water sprayed into your butt, but guess what? Toilet. If you crapped on a surface, would you just wipe it off with paper? Nah, you'd put water on it. And that's why my butt is cleaner than everybody else in here with me.
So only if they were really a sponsor. That's the downfall. Anyway, so we need to thank our sponsors that we currently have, which are Elevated Outdoors. I know I said Elevated Hunting last time. It's Elevated Outdoors.
Yep.
We want to say thank you. Want to clarify that those guys are on board with us. We have Red Rocket Buildings and Barbecue, Kinder Performance Group,
Barbecue.
Huffman Design, Scott Frisk Designs, Butt Kicker as always, J&J Gaming, and to anyone else, if I have left you off, just send me a reminder. I think I got everybody, but Dub Print, I forgot Dub Print's Twitty.
Yep.
Twitty's brother Dub Print. They are also contributing sponsor with the trophies and stuff. So we want to say thank you to those guys, and we appreciate having y'all as sponsors on season 6 of Bluegrass.
Great.
And
Cheers.
for Alex and David, I am Jason Collins, HMFIC, signing off. Have a great night, great rest of the weekend. And if we don't see you before Christmas, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.